I mean, back then we had a dial adjust front arm shock, so I could tune it to handle it how I wanted in the corners. And I got that thing just sliding just perfect. I could point and shoot and just let it eat. And then when I did that, I'd pass everybody on straightaways. And then they had the carbon fiber brakes on it too, so I could just use the shit out of them. You know, that was fun. Yeah. But then I damn near died. So.
Was that when you crashed and broke both legs?
Yep.
Okay, that I had that written down. So what was the story on that?
I was getting to the end of the race. I think we were one lap down. I went up and made the lap up on lap 380 or 390, and then I was like, well, if I go lap everybody again, I can relax the last 50, you know?
Yeah.
Or 75 laps. And so I was like, oh, I'll just put every lap down again. And I was doing that. I was coming down the front stretch, and I saw John Bozek running the high line up by the bridge, you know? And I was like, ooh, that looks like a smooth line. I made a last-second decision to go up there.
Yeah.
And as soon as I did, I hit that bump. And I went sideways in the air, and I was going to save it, but as soon as I pitched it sideways, the back of my sled hit the hay bales and took the sled out from underneath me. And then I hit the bales with my body, and the sled everything went everywhere. And then as soon as I came off crashing into the bales, I slid down the racetrack, my body did. And then I was trying to get out of the way of everybody. And another sled came along and hit me in my left leg, and then I helicoptered and all that stuff. And I still don't know who hit me. And
really?
No,
I'll be damned.
There's a red and white sled is all I know. And then I got up, walked to my snowmobile, put the tether in. Damn thing started, handlebars just smashed right down, you know, and stuff. And then drove to the pits and just pissed off. And I think it's done. And they're like, well, we can probably fix it. I'm like, no, it's done. Back then they had a heated trailer and a non-heated trailer. You know, the non-heated trailers for wrenching on the sled, and the heated one was all our food and dry out our clothes and stuff. And so I went up to the heated trailer and sat down, and they came in and checked on me like, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, you know. But I just couldn't catch my breath, you know. And then 45 minutes later, I still couldn't catch my breath. And then finally they checked my pulse, and they're like, you're going now. I was like, nah, I ain't stopping. We're not yellow flagging this race just so I can get in a goddamn expensive meat wagon, you know. And just pissed off. And like, no, you got to go. And then they checked my pulse, and it was just racing. And like, nope, you need to go now. And I get to the emergency room, and they're like, holy shit, your heart's doing 220 a minute. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, well, now what? And then there's about 8 to 10 nurses and doctors around me, and my mom is standing there, and they go, well, we have to stop your heart. I'm like, what do you mean you got to stop my heart? And they're like, well, we got to stop it because you're doing 220 a minute. The only way to do it is to stop it so it'll come back down. And they're like, okay, well, what if it don't start again? I'm like, well, we're ready if it don't. And there's
defibrillator.
They had the paddles there. They're all lubed up, ready to shock me and stuff. And I'm like, all right. And my mom's crying. And looked at my mom, told her I loved her, and I was like, well, let's do this. And they had an IV in me, and they gave me a shot in the IV, and they're all watching the monitors, and I'm watching the monitors, and just still couldn't catch my breath, and nothing happened. And they're all just shocked, and they're like, what now? Oh, this never happened before. We got to do it again.
Holy shit.
So then they gave me another shot, and then my heart did stop, and then I came back down, and then my blood was, of course, racing through my body, and all of a sudden it wasn't, and I went into hypothermic shock then, and they were putting blankets and warm blankets and heaters on me, and I was just shaking like, I just came out of a frozen lake, and it was 20 below out, and then so I came down from that, and then they're doing blood work and stuff, and then they're like, your CPK count is 14,000. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And like, well, normal is like 60 to 80 for us standing around here, and high is 120, and you're at, whatever the hell it was, and 14,000, and like, yeah, so we need to pump a bunch of IVs through you to get this out of your system. because you're real close to having a stroke or a heart attack or something like that. And,
Jeez.
yeah, and then they're pounding me. They're like, "Do you do drugs?" I was like, "No, I drink beer and eat McDonald's." You know? that was my training back then. You know?
Yeah. A lot of people's training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, "Yep. Oh, you have to do drugs. Fucking drug test me. I don't care. I still haven't done drugs in my life. You know, I still haven't had a cigarette in my life." And they're just pounding me about it. Like, no. And then they ran through every damn test they had in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then they did MRIs and they'd inject me with stuff. And they're like, "Well, if you soil your pants, we understand it happens all the time, you know, and all this stuff."
What are you giving me here, Doc?
Yeah. Oh, it's some dye they sent through you and it just warmed you up and it was weird as hell. and then they were like, "Well, so they gave me a IV and they're pounding the IVs through me. And so I had to pee all the time. And so I was walking to the bathroom. I had a nurse on one arm and then the IV stand on the other. And it was painful as hell to walk. And they're like, "We still don't know what's wrong with you," or whatever. And then they're like, "You're obviously in a lot of pain." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you're going to have to be going to the bathroom about every 15, 20 minutes here." And they're like, "Well, I can make it." They're like, "No, we got to put a catheter in you." I'm like, "God damn it." So then they put a catheter in me. And then
Just making it worse.
Oh, yeah. This race is so dumb. and then, so sitting there with the catheter in me, and the wreck happened Saturday night. And then, that was a 25 grand to win wreck there too. And then Sunday night rolls around and nothing. And then Monday they're like, "We don't know what to do. We ran out of tests. We don't know what's wrong with your heart," and whatever. And they're like, "Yep." And then Monday night they did an MRI and they checked my upper body for anything wrong. And here they found out I was bleeding internally in my lungs.
Oh, jeez.
And then they call my mother up and like, "Yeah, we got to fly him to Marquette, Michigan." And she's like, "You guys don't know what the hell you're doing in Michigan here. We're getting out of here. Get me a flight to Fargo." Or, you know.
Yeah.
So Mom pays for a flight on the tarmac there and off on an airplane. We go to Fargo and flight nurse goes, "Flight went good. Slight discomfort in his right leg." And the doctor goes, "Did they x-ray you out there, Chad?" I was like, "No." 5 a.m. the next morning, 3 people walk into my room and like, "You have a very high pain tolerance, sir." I go, "What do you mean?" "Well, you have 2 broken legs." It's like, I told them that in Michigan. And then they go, "Well, now we figured out why your heart took off." I go, "Why is that?" "Well, when you hit the hay bales and your right leg got ripped off from underneath you, your muscles pulled the top of your thigh bone off and sent a bunch of enzymes through your body and sent your heart racing." Like, oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
And your body was probably in extreme shock from everything else and just...
Yeah. Yep. So they gave me a choice of a body cast or take it easy. I said, "I'll take it easy." But yep. And then, so then the next year after that, Brian had quit racing by then.
Okay.
Can I ask how they stop the internal bleeding on your lungs or by your lungs? Did they do anything for that, or did that just heal?
That's a good question. I don't know what the hell they did about that. They didn't.
Oh, they just take it easy, it'll heal itself kind of deal?
I don't
Wasn't...
know. As soon as they figured out what was wrong with my heart, they must have forgot about that, I guess. But yeah. I never thought about that till now, to be honest.
Yeah?
With you. Yeah.
Weird. Huh.
Yep.